Hi and Assalamualaikum. Welcome to LICAR2020 and thank you for joining my presentation. Today I'm going to talk about issues and challenges in blended learning among learners in higher education. What do we learn? Before I walk you through my slides and presentation, let me first introduce myself. My name is Siti Salmiah Muhammad and these are my team members. The development in the internet and communication technology globally has now changed the education landscape around the world. Many higher institutions have now opted for e-learning as part of the efforts to meet the needs of the digital natives and the 21st century learners. E-learning has been associated with numerous advantages and is said to be able to enhance learning experience and skills acquisitions as well as knowledge acquisition. There are three types of learning experience in the 21st century nowadays. Okay, we still have this traditionally face-to-face classroom, whereby teachers or instructors play most of the role in delivering education. We also have fully online courses whereby everything is done online, especially when education is offered distantly. In between this, we have blended learning whereby that face-to-face experience with instructors and lecturers is optimized together with online learning experience. In Malaysia, e-learning education reform is evident through Malaysian government's e-learning initiative. The Malaysian Education Blueprint 2013 to 2025 has emphasized that higher education and education in Malaysia must use technology in education to spur the development of e-learning agenda in the higher education institutions in Malaysia. The ministry has also launched its e-learning national policy or Dasar Pembelajaran Negara Depan in 2011 so that ubiquitous learning can be promoted in university and enhance teaching and learning experience further. The Ministry of Higher Education and the Ministry's National Higher Education Strategic Plan 2011 to 2015 has also spurred the e-learning initiative in higher education. Blended learning has been defined widely across time, and an earlier and influential definition as documented by Graham, Allen and 2003 suggests blended learning as a combination of instructional modalities, instructional method, and online as well as face-to-face instruction. Zubin, Hartman and Moscow 2004 meanwhile relate blended learning with pedagogy, postulating it as a pedagogical approach with effectiveness, active learning, and room for socialization in online environment. While Garrison and Kanuka 2004 defined blended learning as the thoughtful integration of classroom lectures with technology-based method. Other scholars like Bong and Graham 2006 extend the earlier definition by describing blended learning as a combination of both face-to-face instruction and technology-mediated instructions. There are many other scholars who have given the definition to blended learning as well. Other scholars such as Pisciano 2009 suggest that blended learning is actually a combination between face-to-face and online learning activities which are integrated in a planned and pedagogically valuable manner, whereby these online activities are replacing a portion of that traditional face-to-face in traditional classroom. Scholars like Hong and Stecker 2011 in addition add blended learning occurs when learners learn at least in brick and mortar environment, using online technology whereby the students have control over the pace, the path and the methods used. And lastly, Steen and Graham 2014 have associated blended learning with a range of technology enhancement combining both on-site and online learning. In general, the definitions given by the scholars combine the idea that blended learning is actually a pedagogical approach that consists of this traditional face-to-face or on-site learning and online learning, be that in synchronous or asynchronous mode. While there is no doubt that blended learning approaches have increasingly become more popular and being implemented in higher institutions or higher education, there are many pedagogical considerations that must be taken into account. Various scholars have highlighted different aspects of pedagogical considerations that should be in focus whenever instructors design any blended learning. Batham 2017, for instance, highlight that learners' prior knowledge and competence, preferences, motive, expectation of e-learning, as well as learners' digital literacy as very important aspects in the success of blended learning experience. Conway et al. In 2011 also highlights new skills are required in blended learning because blended learning actually will encourage co-learning, co-creation, and self-reliant behavior. While some other scholars like Smith 2012 highlight the issues of isolation, invasive feeling, tyrant experience for some learners, and internet connectivity, as well as the absence of feedbacks from either other learners or peers, as well as instructors, as some of the pedagogical considerations that should be taken into account whenever blended learning is offered in higher education. This study has two objectives. One, the study looks into the perceived issues and challenges of blended learning among English for occupational purposes or EOP learners in a higher education. Secondly, the study also tried to look into the differences, if any, in the perceived issues and challenges in blended learning between learners from different faculties. This is a quantitative research whereby questionnaires are distributed and there are 11 items which are listed in the questionnaires, namely accessibility, content attractiveness, content relevance, feedback from peers, feedback from instructors, computing skills, face-to-face interaction that indicate social presence, self-motivation, support from others to indicate social presence, that could be from parents, the time spent, as well as technophobia or fear of technology. 85 undergraduate respondents have answered the questionnaires, and the learners or undergraduate learners here are from different faculties but from the same university. Descriptive analysis, statistic analysis has been used to analyze the data, and here's the finding. The finding shows that all 11 items listed in the questionnaires have mean above 2.0, indicating moderate and positive perception on the different types of challenges in blended learning in the university. Of the 11 types of challenges listed, the ranking from highest to lowest mean scores based on the learners' perceptions are as the following. Number 1, the lack of accessibility. Number 2, the lack of face-to-face. Number 3, the lack of time. Number 4, the lack of peer feedback, followed with number 5, the lack of support from others. Number 6, the lack of self-motivation. 7, the lack of feedback from instructor. 8, the lack of computing skills. 9, the lack of interesting content. 10, the lack of relevant content. And 11, the lack of confidence or technophobia. Inferential result or analysis is used to find out any differences in the issues and challenges in blended learning between learners of different faculties. And test of homogeneity of variant has been conducted, to qualify the data for ANOVA. And one-way ANOVA is used to compare the mean score of the three groups of these EOP learners, and to check whether the groups differ from each other or not. Based on the one-way ANOVA test value of sum squares between groups, the value of F or challenges shows significant differences, and the result does indicate that EOP learners of different faculty have different perceptions on the challenges they face in the course. Further differences are found when two-key test is administered to find out which group in the samples differ, and the multiple comparison table finding shows significant difference between learners from faculty B and C, whereby the p-value is less than 0.5. There is no significant difference, however, between learners from faculty A and B, A and C, A and D, as well as between learners from faculty C and D, because the p-value is more than 0.5. To conclude, I would like to give suggestions and practical implications, especially to instructors. One, there's a need for instructors to carry out a needs analysis to understand future learners' perceptions, and ideally this should be done before the start of any semester. Instructors should also implement simple course evaluation, perhaps in the middle of the semester and at the end of the semester, to check the effectiveness of their blended learning. Instructors can also revise blended learning course content, tools, activities and assessments accordingly from time to time, and also to improve the design and layout so it becomes interesting to learners. And lastly, instructors should also try to consider and employ tools which are familiar to learners and learners friendly instead of just using any tools or latest tools which are available a lot online.